Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Little immediate reaction show, live post-fight show. It was a massive one. Ryan Garcia, the face of boxing, guys. It happened. I was right. Gary was wrong. We don't need to talk about Ioka icing Tanaka at all, and me being wrong about that one. We can only talk about Ryan Garcia being the new face of boxing. Oh, my fucking God. I get Canelo 1 and Canelo 2.0. I'm hyped, Gary. I'm hyped. Obviously, the like button, share the show, all that fun YouTube stuff. I'm Matthew Hunter. It's MCR. It should be a fun, jam-packed show breaking down the fights and the news in the boxing world. But, as always, I'm joined by the one and only, the glorious Mr. Texas himself, Gary. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. I woke up today with horrible news that the Longhorns fired Herman and hired Steve Sarkisian, your old head coach, out of the clear blue. Like, that made zero sense. But it turned into a great day. I mean, look, I got it wrong. That's fine because of how good the fight was. Like, just like you got Ioka and Tanaka wrong, but it's fine because it was a great fight. And, like, look, Alvarado and Gutierrez aren't one's a world champ now. And that's the legit. I know that's the WBA regular. That's the legitimate WBA belt. Gutierrez is the world champ now, but that was a great fight, and that was fire. But neither one of those guys are premier 130 pounders. Like they'll both lose to the top five guys in that division. But that was a great fight. So it was a great day of boxing. And as soon as that hook landed to the body, I said to my wife, "It's over. He ain't getting up." And they're talking about like, is he going to get up? Like, he ain't getting up. I'm surprised he got up at 12. Like I thought, like that was going to be a De La Hoya thing where he was. The only time I see someone get up from a shot like that was when Ward hit Gaddy with the body shot in the ninth. Oh, you don't get up from that for minutes, right? Like you can't breathe. That was impressive for him just to even get back up to his feet. That was quite a hook. That was a really great fight. It was just a great afternoon of boxing. And to be real, I ain't mad at the start time.
I was mad at it. I'll be honest, because I was caught off guard. I forgot that it was starting early, so I missed. Yeah. I'll be honest, guys. Unfortunately, I missed like the entire undercard. I only caught the last two rounds of Alvarado Gutierrez. I am really mad.
You got to go back and watch those two Felix Alvarado fight, and then the Renee. I mean, bro,
Felix is good, man. Felix is fucking good. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch it, and I want to go back and watch. Was it Sean Garcia?
You don't gotta watch that. You don't gotta watch.
I got to watch this for the laughs. Everyone's making fun of it. I got to make fun of it too, so I have to go back and watch that one for sure. But guys, I see a lot of people saying Happy New Year in the chat. Happy New Year to everyone in the chat. I hope everyone had a good holidays. It's obviously January 2nd, first show of 2021. Fuck 2020. We're here, guys. And I mean, to be honest, 2021 for boxing started off pretty good. This was a top to bottom, from what I hear, a really awesome, entertaining card in the middle of the day on a Saturday. But obviously, let's talk about the main event itself. Ryan Garcia knocking out and finishing Luke Campbell via a body shot with the left hook in the 7th round, I believe it was. I mean, what can we really say about this fight? Because it was a back-and-forth affair. He had the second round knockdown of Ryan Garcia, his first knockdown in his career. I think the fight had a sort of duality about it with Ryan Garcia's athleticism, his explosive combinations, and Campbell's clearly better technique, better footwork, better sort of punch technique. Clearly was the better technician in there, but was not able to keep up with the athleticism of Ryan Garcia. And as this fight was going on to the third round especially, it became really intriguing because it was quite clear that even though Campbell could catch Garcia, could rock him, Garcia can recover. Because in that third round, after a brutal knockdown, he came back and dominated the third round. I mean, this was just a fantastic fight from opening bell. Not a fight of the year contender, but an intriguing matchup in the ring, back and forth within rounds, within obviously the entirety of the fight. And we got massive storylines coming out of it with Ryan Garcia. What's next for him? One of the new faces of the sport. Gary, obviously a lot to talk about with this fight in terms of Ryan Garcia as a fighter in his career, and course, the X's and O's of what happened in the ring. What do you want to talk about, man? So much to get into.
You call him Canelo 2.0.
It's not as
let's slow that down, right? Like somebody asked me if Justin Fields was the new Pat Mahomes at the S. I was like, whoa. It was a really good performance. I'll say the same thing about Ryan Garcia that I just said about Justin Fields. It was a really good performance. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't Canelo-esque, right? Let's not start jumping the shark there. He did get knocked out. He did eat a ton. He's so good. He's an athlete. He's really fast. He's obviously got a good chin. When he got knocked down, the way he went down, but he ain't getting up. And then he got up. I was like, well, he ain't going to go much longer because there was a minute and a half left in the round. There was a lot of time left in the round. So he's going to make it to the round. And he did fine. Like, he actually won the last, 30 seconds of the round or so. So he responded really well off a really big knockdown that I thought might be the end of the fight. If he got up, I thought it was just a matter of time. And he got up, and then he responded well. I thought he was way too aggressive at times. He got hit with a lot of shots. Luke's not the biggest puncher. If you do that against Teofimo, it's over. You lose. Or Tank Davis, you lose. You can't get hit with those type of shots. I don't want to nitpick. It was a really good performance. He boxed when he didn't get super aggressive. He boxed well with Luke Campbell. He boxed well with them, so that's a good sign. I just think the same thing we would say to a gunslinging quarterback. You got to reel it back. I know what you can do. You don't have to do it every play. Reel that back in, calm down, and learn to pick. But he's still really young. He's 22, right? Pick your spots a little better because the talent. And I was someone who didn't believe in him. The talent and the skills are there. And now it's just a matter of picking your spots and not getting hyper aggressive all the time.
For a second, let's start nitpicking Ryan Garcia's performance. I think we should. He's a young prospect / contender now. I think he deserves to be critiqued in some fashion. I think he should, right? First off, like you said, super overeager, and that allowed him to be caught by counters that in other fights he simply cannot do. And while that's not totally an issue for every prospect or fighter, for a guy like Ryan Garcia, who I think in a sense needs to be that explosive fighter to really be successful in the round, he almost needs to be in your face, throwing combinations to really get in his rhythm. When he sits back, you can tell he's not functioning like he wants to. And any good trainer should be able to fine-tune that explosive energy into a good swarmer, which I think he's going to probably turn into in a sense. A good burst fighter, a good swarmer where he comes in with 3s, 4s, 5 punch combinations and then backs up and just sort of repeats the cycle. That's what I think he's going to evolve into. But right now, like you said, way too overeager. He gets caught. I think overall his defense is leaky, meaning that his arm and glove and hand placement is in a position where he is able to get hit with shots, both when he's disengaging, when he's engaging, when he's just in mid-range, eyeing his opponent. He is not in a position to really defend himself at all times. And we saw that even with the knockdown, I should say, in the second round, when he was trying to disengage and leave the exchange between him and Luke Campbell. First off, he went straight back, head was straight up, and he had his arms extended like this. You cannot do that. You can only do that when you are the superior fighter significantly when it comes to reach. Like Vladimir Klitschko fighting some small heavyweights. And he can do the leave your jab arm out there as sort of a stiff arm, and you can block a lot of left hooks and right hands doing that. But when you have the equal reach and height as your opponent, when you're in that distance still, you can't do that. He needs to be able to slip under shots and to sort of reset. And he clearly can't do that right now. And that's fine. Watching this fight before it started in round 4 or 5, where it was clear that Campbell wasn't really going to come back and he wasn't picking enough shots and counters to where it was going to make a difference, and Ryan Garcia was on his way to winning the fight, I still thought Ryan Garcia is probably a couple fights away from even Luke Campbell in terms of his technique and what I want it to be and what it should be. So when we talk about Teofimo Lopez, he is not ready for that fight. And to be honest, I think even a guy like Devin Haney could potentially win a decision against Ryan Garcia because he can be picked apart. If you can somehow, and I think Devin Haney is talented enough to where maybe he can figure this out. If you can somehow, obviously, offset and negate that explosive volume of offense from Ryan Garcia, he becomes a really, really leaky, tall fighter where you can capitalize on that. Ricky Ellis is saying Gervonta Davis as well. Yeah, Gervonta Davis, I think, knocks out Ryan Garcia. I think Teofimo Lopez knocks out Ryan Garcia right now. A Devin Haney matchup makes the most sense, probably, in terms of actual where he's at right now. That fight is what I want from him. Gary, I know I said a lot right there, but
so when we're talking about, you're saying that we had his arms out because if you notice, Campbell threw the jab to the body, which we were talking about a recent episode, which you don't like because it can be countered. It took his attention, and he threw the right hand right behind it. But it was the jab to the body that got Garcia out of place so Luke could land that big right hand. I agree that Garcia's defense is leaky, right? It's obviously leaky. But he can just overwhelm people athletically. He'll get hit, but he's going to do more damage than he's going to take, right? Like, he's just more athletic than you, stronger, faster, quicker, more powerful than you. So, yeah, he's going to get hit, but you're going to get the worse for wear. Now, what happens when he doesn't have the athletic advantage over Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney? Now, those are the only two guys he's not going to have the athletic advantage over, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're just kind of all equally athletic, right? Like,
yeah.
But
like him against like Richard Comey or Devin Haney, or that's probably the names I would feel like he's in that bracket right now. He's right under the top two, and he's probably above guys like George Kambosos, Lee Selby, Ricky Burns, Javier Fortuna. Like, he's better than those guys. He'll be able to deal with whatever talent or ability they have because of his athleticism, because of his power, because of his youth. But those top two, they're in a different league right now. They're more ready for the world level than Ryan Garcia is. Ryan Garcia got away with a lot here because of who he was facing. And I try to talk about that in the previous show, but I don't think I really emphasized that enough, how much of a good matchup for Ryan Garcia Luke Campbell was. Because he wasn't going to make him pay as much as these other guys could. The only thing he had is that he was a better technician than Ryan Garcia. But as I said in the previous show, this is still an athletic competition. And if you cannot keep up with your opponent in terms of hand speed, in terms of foot speed, in terms of power, it's a very rough night for you, regardless of how talented you are.
What it reminded me of was like in the NCAA tournament where there's like a team full of freshmen, like hotshot freshmen, right? And like they're the 1 seed in the tournament. And they play the 16 seed, which is a bunch of seniors in a small school. Mm-hmm. And it's like the seniors hang around with them for the first half. And then the athletes on the number 1 seed, like, all right, we'll just blow them out now. Like that was, okay, I see what they can do. Now we'll just blow them out. I kind of feel like that was what Ryan Garcia was doing. I thought Garcia did a better than expected job of boxing with them.
Yeah.
So once he saw that he could box with them, like, I can just take him out now. Like, I know what he can do. I'll just take him out now.
Yeah, and I think obviously, I don't think we really emphasize this. His recovery of that knockdown was amazing. Like, I think you kind of talked about it, but I didn't. Ryan Garcia, his ability to come back from that knockdown and then dominate the third round the way he did. We talk about Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Davis being able to knock him out and beat him, but that's because those are like super heavy-handed fighters and super athletes in their own right and super technicians in their own right. They have the perfect style, while Ryan Garcia is still a work in progress. That's the difference. I think Ryan Garcia is still 2 years away from really hanging with Tank or Teofimo Lopez. I think he needs another 3 or 4 fights amongst this crowd before he's really ready for that level. Gary?
It's tough though, because who would you want to see him fight next, right? Because Campbell's kind of like the guy. Like, I'm not saying he's going to beat those guys because I don't think he is, but if you can beat Campbell, well, then now you're going to go fight these guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't see a step in between. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you beat Campbell, now you're ready for the best guys in the division. Unless you're going to have him fight Linares next.
They could do that.
I like that because Linares, although aged, is still really, really quick, really, really athletic. He carries power. So I like that, but I think Garcia, at this stage of his career, gets rid of Linares.
Yeah, but I think there's still use in having him just have more time training.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
We all know that Ryan Garcia has gotten a lot better in the last couple of years, and that back when he was fighting like the Jason Velez's of the world, we were kind of mocking him and thinking that he was an Instagram star and not a boxing star. We all thought that to some degree, but he's vastly improved. He switched trainers. Like, we all know the story of Ryan Garcia now, but he's still not ready for those top two. I don't think anyone here, and maybe there are people here like 92 Aku. I see you talking and praising Ryan Garcia, as I think we should praise Ryan Garcia, but I don't think anyone's actually out there stating that Ryan Garcia beats Teofimo Lopez or Gervonta Davis. And even like Lomachenko, we want to add him in the mix still. Like, I don't think he beats Lomachenko right now. Right?
No. He's not going to outbox Lomachenko the way Teofimo did, so he's going to lose to him.
And Loma is a great athlete in his own right, so it's not like Ryan has that massive advantage over him in one category like he did with Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell has like a 30% knockout rate. Right? The guy has like 10 knockouts and like 30 wins. Like, he's not a heavy-handed fighter in any fashion. He's also a slow fighter. We've talked about this ad nauseum, that Luke Campbell is not the fastest handed athlete in the lightweight division. And he's also been outboxed, outsmarted, everything in the big fights. Like, Campbell has never beat a world champion or a former world champion. Not once. Okay, so we have to be honest about Luke Campbell and really what he was a barometer for. He was a barometer for the top 10. I don't know if he was a barometer for the top 5. Okay. I think Ryan Garcia, in terms of how we evaluate him in the top 5, is still a question mark. How we evaluate him in the top 10, I think, is not a question mark anymore. He definitely belongs within that top 10 of the world at 135. In the top 5, we have to have, that's a conversation. That's a debate. You know, whether he's at 6 or through 10 is not a debate. He is somewhere at least in that spot. And beating Luke Campbell proves that. But I don't think it proved that he can beat, again, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis. And even like DAZN was calling out like Shakur Stevenson. I think it was like Todd Grisham calling out like other fighters around their weight class. I think Shakur Stevenson beats Ryan Garcia right now. If they were to have a fight. Oh, what? Wait.
So that would be his third weight class, and like he's tall enough, right? But I don't know. Does he have the power to keep him off of him? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to be physically smaller because he's fighting in his third weight class now. I don't know. I mean, look, Shakur Stevenson is obviously the classier boxer, but he'd have to be able to keep Garcia off of him for, 12 rounds. I don't know. I'd rather just see them both fight guys in their own weight class than see that fight.
No, I know. But that was just names that were brought up by the DAZN telecast.
Which was spot on excellent again today.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Again, I didn't see the undercard, right?
Just the main event. Like, look, I get that you guys like Ryan Garcia. I get that. But, like, the cheerleading was disgusting. It was borderline propaganda. It's like, oh, we really like the way that he got knocked down. It's like, guys, you guys see Luke Campbell is in this fight, right? Like, just listening to it, I feel like you thought this fight was, before that knockout, was one-way traffic. It's like, Luke Campbell is doing well in this fight. I don't know how many rounds you gave him. I had him down a point.
I gave him 1 round.
You only gave him 1 round?
Yeah.
Okay. Luke Campbell landed heavy artillery. Luke Campbell landed, I mean, he just doesn't really have, he landed big artillery. Well, whether or not it's heavy, I mean, it's Luke Campbell throwing it. But, like, he landed big, clean shots. Like, that was a really good fight. I'm disgusted by the way that, can we talk about Kate Ebdo? She said to Ryan Garcia's dad, you have some good sperm or something like that.
You made some cute boys, man.
Did they steal her from Fox? Is she with DAZN now?
No, she's done both. She's done both before.
Okay.
Yeah, like she's done some of the bigger DAZN cars back in like 2018, 2019, of course, right?
I really think, like, I thought when she had that show with Abner Mars and Sean Porter.
Mhm.
I think she's got a really good rapport with Sean Porter. I think she's just really good at that role. Like I really like her. Like she's really friendly and entertaining. Like, who's the girl that's married to Jalen Rose that does First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman? Molly Kiram.
Yes.
Like, I feel like she's the boxing version of that. Like, she's really good at that. You know, she doesn't say a bunch of controversial things, but she sets everything up. Like, she's good. I'm glad that she's got both jobs. I really like her in that role in boxing.
She does good. Yeah, I mean, but then again, like on the DAZN telecast,
she's like when it's with Sean Porter, I think the report is great because Sean Porter's kind of like that goofy, nice, friendly guy. Like it's really good, and I think she's good at this. It's just Mannix and
Todd Grisham and Sergio Mora and Gareth Davies.
Like I like Sergio Mora. Like he's a good guy. I just feel like he says dopey things and he's not really paying attention to the fight. Like he said, the one thing you want to have against the southpaw is a quick jab. It's like, wouldn't you say a lead right hand? Right? Like I mean, it's just kind of like a weird thing to say. And I think he meant to redact that later. He's like, I meant to say that the right hand was what you're supposed. But it's like,
dude, no. The best was when this must have been a joke. Right when Todd Grisham went to Sergio Mora, was like, Sergio, you were on like the Contender Series. You were a massive breakout superstar. What is like? How does Ryan Garcia deal with the dude? There's no way. There's no way Todd Grisham's seriously.
That's making fun of him. Yeah,
it has to be right. The problem is that like Sergio Mora like answered it like honestly. So I don't know if he's joking or not because it sounded like a fucking joke.
Because like Grissom sucks and he's not funny, so you don't know. You can't tell when he's trying to be funny, and he asks us bad questions. Like you don't know if that's just a bad question or if he's trying to be funny. I thought he was gone when he did he didn't do the Canelo fight, right? Mm-hmm. And it was good. I don't want anyone to get fired. I really don't. So I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying the telecast was better without him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just
he's awful. Like he's terrible. I like Sergio Mora. Like I like him. He's a likable guy, but like he's not.
Okay, I'm gonna say
watching the fight. I feel like
here's a hot take, guys. I have a hot take. It has become so bad. It's entertaining now. I'll be honest. Like when I watch the DAZN show, part of the entertainment is the DAZN commentary and how shitty it is. And like, how many Todd Grishams can I catch? You know, like honestly, like it's become part of the telecast. It should be a drinking game. Like how many times Todd Grisham makes fun of Sergio Mora without Sergio Mora realizing it. That should be a drinking game because it happens on every fucking telecast. And then you have Chris Mannix who, God, yeah. Ooh, hold on. I have a great question, or not question, a comment from the chat. And this is one that I will think that's spawn some debate. IA in the chat says, guys, Reneso is overrated in my opinion. Eddie Reneso, the trainer. Julio Cesar Martinez, Frank Sanchez, and now Ryan all shown fundamental flaws. Okay, where to start with this? I do not think Eddie Reneso is overrated. But I think he is the grand, like, I don't know, like
you're gonna say Grand Wizard.
I was. I'm like, fucking not what I mean.
Sound weird, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like the maestro of boxing. He's a reincarnation of Emmanuel Stewart. I don't think that's the case, but clearly, all those fighters, except for Oscar Valdez, are extremely talented and are like have potential. Like even maybe except Frank Sanchez. I'm not high on Frank Sanchez at all. And I will also say this: all those fighters you mentioned had massive issues heading into camps with Eddie Reneso and now training with him. And he has improved them drastically. And I think that is the mark of a good trainer. Not that they make perfect fighters, because not every fighter in the world is going to be perfect. Like Ryan Garcia is never going to be as perfect as Sugar Ray Leonard. Sorry. No matter how many times we hear Sergio Mora or Chris Mannix compare Ryan Garcia to Oscar De La Hoya and then Sugar Ray Leonard in the same sentence, it's not the case, right? But
they really wanted to be the case, though. Like bad.
Really bad. And That's not what I'm. That's not the bar I'm holding both Renesso and Ryan Garcia to. I'm holding that dynamic, that relationship to. Does it improve both parties? Like, does Eddie Renesso become more of a prolific trainer because of working with fighters like Ryan Garcia, and do his fighters improve because they work with Eddie Renesso? That is what we should be talking about or be questioning when it comes to trainers. For example, I would argue that God, what's his name that used to train Andre Ward and Amir Khan?
Out in Oakland.
Hunter, right?
Virgil.
Is it Virgil Hunter?
Virgil Hunter. Yeah, right. Barry Hunter is the one in DC with the Peterson brothers. Yeah.
Yes. I would argue Virgil Hunter is not a good trainer, especially when he hit like in his prime back in like the 2014-15 run, right? Because other than Andre Ward, all of his fighters never improved.
Barrios
never improved. With Virgil Hunter, I didn't think so. When I saw Barrios, when I saw tape of him, because remember, back in Name Redacted, I got the in with the Barrios team, right? When I saw tape of him before Hunter came in, I thought he looked exactly the same as when he fought after training with Virgil Hunter. You know what I mean? When I see Ryan Garcia, he fights different. When I see Julio Cesar Martinez, he fights far more effectively. You know, when I see even like Oscar Valdez to a degree, I think he fights a lot better now. He just isn't good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Look,
you can't. Sorry,
they're not all going to be winners, right? Like we were talking about Manuel Stewart being like the ultimate trainer. He trained fighters who sucked, right? Oh, Andy Lee was one of them. The guy that trained Barrios on the come up. His name is Rick Nunez. He trains Omar Juarez too. And he was given a legendary fighter's son to work with, right? And he looked at him and said, "I'll work with him. I ain't gonna put my name on him. I'm not gonna say who that fighter is, right? But he's like, there's nothing I can do with it. He's not good. Like, I mean, I can make him better, but I'll never ever be able to make him good, right? So it's like,
can I guess? Can I guess who it is?
You can guess. I'm not. I can tell you off air, but you can guess.
I mean, guess it's Holyfield's son.
No. Holyfield's kid's pretty good.
Damn it. Oh, Shane Mosley's kid.
Nope, it's not Mosley's kid.
Damn it. Who could it be now? Anyways, I'll think about it. Off air. But no, you're right. Like, not every shit can be polished into gold or whatever the saying is. You know, like I'm sorry. Like, you can't make every fighter that has issues clean up those issues and become a perfect fighter. But what we have seen is that Eddie Renesso has had a solid team of fighters under his tutelage, and they've all improved and got accolades under his tutelage. So he's clearly a good trainer. Like, that cannot be understated. Whether or not he's the best trainer or whatever, that's personal preference and shit like that. People are mentioning Ryan Garcia versus Nakatani. While I would like that fight, that would be an intriguing fight. Nakatani, I think, would present a lot of issues for Ryan Garcia, being potentially taller than him even and bigger than him. Like, Nakatani is a giant and durable, heavy hitter too. But Nakatani has no like actual like attention on him. That's why he won't get any. That's why he won't get the fight. He doesn't bring anything to the table. I think honestly, we see the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight get fast tracked. I think that happens next. If I have to guess, we get that next.
Because Golden Boy needs a star now.
Yes.
And Ryan, whatever you think of their skills, Ryan is closer to being a star than Virgil. So we're gonna fast track Ryan, and Ryan's got a clear path because Ryan can beat Haney, right? To get Virgil a fight with Bud is gonna be difficult. Can he win that fight? To get him a fight with Thurman or something like that, it's like can we get him that fight? And I think he can win that fight, but I could have more confidence in Ryan after that performance to beat Devin Haney and make him and that fight's a lot easier to make. Like, I'd be surprised if that fight didn't happen. Like, I would say there's 70% chance that it happens in 2021.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, if anyone has paid attention to like media headlines and like Oscar De La Hoya interviews, the run up to this fight has been drastically different in how he talks about Ryan Garcia. Have you noticed that, Gary?
Yeah.
They are hitching all of their wagons to the Ryan Garcia horse. Abso-fucking-lutely. And look, now he has a solid win over a top 10 opponent, Olympic gold medalist, that you can now springboard him into big fights. And if he loses, you can argue he's young enough. It doesn't really matter as much because he's an entertaining fighter. Like he's now been battle tested enough to where if he loses to Teofimo Lopez or Devontae Davis or Devin Haney or whoever, you can bounce back in the public's perception. And I know like some people are probably sick of this conversation, but Ryan Garcia is a legitimate potential crossover star. Like I seriously doubt the star power potential, even guys like Teofimo Lopez, Virgil Ortiz, Jared Enos. I mean, mention any of the next generation that we talk about, right? Shakur Stevenson, whoever. Ryan Garcia and probably Tank Davis are the two biggest guys that could be the biggest stars of their generation.
What I would say is Ryan, if he becomes a superstar, can do what like Sugar Ray Leonard and De La Hoya did with Hearns and Mosley. Like he can make them bigger stars than they are if they fight him and make great fights, right? Like if he fights Teofimo Lopez, right? It's probably Ryan Garcia as the A side, but that would give Teofimo Lopez the spotlight to shine his personality. And if Lopez beats him, he becomes a star, right? So what I'm saying is they kind of have to hitch their ride to Ryan Garcia's star, right? Like Garcia is going to be the star. You know, Ken Hagler, who had, was a great fighter with zero personality, who hitched his ride to Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hurt, can they do that to him and become stars off of him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Teofimo Lopez is definitely like the odd man out in terms of star power. Like even Devin Haney has a ton of attention online from outside the boxing world about him. Like he is far more transcendent when it comes to boxing because he's far more involved in the entertainment industry and stuff like that than I think people think about and realize. Same with Tank Davis. Same with Ryan Garcia. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out as the next star or the next stars. But at this point, it's not overstated when we talk about Ryan Garcia's potential star power, transcendence, all that stuff. It's not overblown and hyperbolic. Unfortunately, I know we are sick of it because we listen to it now and we've listened to it for years about Ryan Garcia. But it's reality now. Like Ryan Garcia, in my opinion, is going to be a crossover star. He's going to be on TV shows. He's going to be on movies. He's going to be on guest spots on like SNL and late night talk show hosts. Like you're going to see that shit. Why? Because he does have that massive fan base already from his Instagram presence, his social media presence. But he's also, from what we can tell, a pretty smart, good-looking, articulate young guy. And that fucking sells. Okay? There's a reason why Devin Haney is going to sell, because he's a good-looking, smart, articulate guy. It helps. Like, I can see Devin Haney going on, like, Conan O'Brien in, like, a couple years. You know what I mean? I can never see Virgil Ortiz doing that. I see Ortiz playing on Twitch and video games, which is fine. You can generate fan base and star power through a completely separate ecosystem of society through that. But you have to like push the buttons for that. You know what I mean? Like if you're Oscar De La Hoya and you want to create Ortiz to be more of a star, get him on some of these big Twitch streamers on some of their streams. Like honestly, that's what I would do. Because he's a video game like nerd.
Yes.
Like a lot of young guys, and that's cool. But you got to figure out a way to market that.
He's got to play NBA players in Madden. I don't know if he plays Madden, but like people like to watch other people play Madden. I don't understand that, but they do. Or 2K or something. And then challenge like Damian Lillard loves to play video games, right? Challenge Damian Lillard. Lillard knows who you are. Lillard's a boxing fan. Challenge him. He'll play you. Call him out. Call him out. Tell him,
Santiago reminded me that Ron Garcia did the Family Feud spot. It was a boxing versus UFC.
He did. He was the host. It was him, Holyfield, Bo,
which was
Mauricio, because he threw the belt in the garbage. Of course, Mauricio Stolen put himself on, and then who was the last guy? Oh, Sean Porter.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh man, I love how the dude with Aryan in his name is going off in the chat about how Haney is not a good-looking guy. I wonder why you don't think that, dude. It's okay, man. Like objectively, Haney's a good-looking dude. There's a reason why, if you look on his Instagram page, he gets with the women he gets with. All props to him. Devin Haney could lose all of these fights, and he is still a fucking winner. I'm telling you that right now. Okay.
It's like if Derek Jeter didn't play shortstop for the Yankees, he'd still get way more girls than me, right? If Ryan Garcia didn't knock people out, he'd still get way more girls than me.
Abso-fucking-lutely, man. It's okay, man. It's okay, Mr. Aryan guy in the chat. I wonder why you're upset, though. Moving on. Santiago, I think Ryan's more of a Naruto fan. Hey, shout out to Naruto, man. That just isn't as big as it used to be. But I mean, in terms of marketing, like Ryan Garcia, he is a little bit of that like vanilla marketing where you can put him in a lot of different things that he maybe doesn't ascribe to because he has that, I don't know, like classically good-looking look to him, right?
Victor Ortiz was put in a lot of things. He was on Dancing with the Stars. He was with the Jake Gyllenhaal movie, Southpaw. Is that what it was called? It's called something like that. He was in a Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Yes.
He played Ramon. He was in Expendables Part 3. Like he did a lot of stuff.
Ortiz is probably a good comparison because he was objectively a good-looking dude. Had crazy knockout power, right, in the lower weight classes, and that always, I think, generates some star power within the boxing world, especially. And then if you're a good-looking, personable dude that has a decent smile, hell, you can be thrown on any advertisement outside of boxing and it work. So yeah, I think Ryan Garcia is on his way to being one of the biggest stars of his generation, along with honestly a lot of these lightweight fighters. Like that is intriguing to me, how much these lightweight fighters all have star power and world-class potential. It's fascinating to watch how that's going to progress, how that's going to evolve. This intriguing stuff. Gary, do you want to talk about any brief thoughts on the undercard before we move on to Ioka Tanaka?
But just the two undercards. The Felix Alvarado fight, like, it was mostly dominated by Felix Alvarado, but it was great action. So I mean, there's not, and then Alvarado got stoppage, like just really impressive stuff. Bam Rodriguez walks right through him, but we'll put that to the side. And then in the Rene Alvarado fight, I tell you, that belt, which is the legitimate, I know it's the regular, that's the legitimate belt. That's the belt that Jezreel Corrales had, that Mercado took from him, that Rene Alvarado took. Like, that was the one that Cancio took. And then, like, that's the actual WBA belt. When Tank Davis went out and fought for the WBA at 130, they just gave him the super belt and made that one the regular belt for no reason at all. So I recognize that as the legitimate champion in the WBA. So Gutierrez is, to me, a legitimate world champion. I know we can disagree because it is the regular belt, but I say it's the one with the lineage.
You think he beats Tank Davis?
What was that?
You think he beats Tank Davis?
No, no. But that was a fun fight. Like that, he beat a good fighter. I'm trying to make the point that it's a legitimate belt in my book.
He is the lineal WBA champion.
Yes. And it was like, did you see him? Like, where was he from? Venezuela. You can see, like, this is like a life's worth of work. Gutierrez, yeah. Like, it's good to see how, like, that much passion. Like, he was in tears. He was moving to tears that he was the world champion. Like, it was really good to see. They say, like, there's so many belts that don't matter anymore. Oh, they matter, right? Like, and you can see that. Like, that was his life's, as a culmination of his life's work. And then he's going to go back to, I think it was Venezuela. It might have been Colombia. I don't know.
I'll check right now. Don't worry.
But he's going to go back and he's going to be a champion. Like, he's bringing that belt back home to all those people. Like, that was really good to see.
Yeah, Venezuela. And there was a story about his mom fighting cancer. Like, I only caught the last 2 rounds. So I caught him crying. I caught a little bit of that story. I want to go back and watch that because I do love the Alvarado brothers. And Gutierrez is only 25 years old. So
got 3 losses already. Yeah.
And do you know who he lost to? Do you know who he lost to?
He lost to Rene Alvarado.
No. And those other losses.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Hector Tanahara.
Yeah. Did it really?
And Oscar Duarte.
Oh, okay.
Those are two like decent prospects, man. Like, and then and then obviously Rene Alvarado way back in the day.
Does that change your outlook now on Hector Tanahara? That he beat a world champion?
Dude, honestly, no. Like that's in hindsight, absolutely. I'm gonna go back and watch that fight now.
If you can. I'm guessing it was on a Golden Boy card, right? Back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
What year was it?
Oh, let me check. 2018. It was.
Okay. Yeah.
At Blasco.
What?
It was at the Blasco. It was when Virgil Ortiz fought Juan Carlos Delgado.
Okay. I remember vaguely. Was it on a Facebook card?
It was on ESPN2.
Okay, it was on ESPN2. That was okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch that fight now after, especially since he beat Rene Alvarado, and Rene Alvarado is not a chump at all.
So does Tanahara now have a better resume than Devin Haney?
Yeah, because he beat a world champion.
World champion.
I mean that's. But no, I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry, because it's a regular belt.
It's not. It's the lineal belt. I don't care. It's the regular belt. He's the man that beat the man that beat the man.
Dude, it's a principle for me, man. All regular belts are not championships to me.
See, what's nonsense is like
this would be a great fight. It's okay in my mind.
What's his name? Jezreel Corrales had the super title, but now the lineage of it. Now it's the regular belt.
Gary, I understand completely. I get the argument for this one specific case. I 1000% I get it. I'm just not giving it to Tanahara so that he beat a former champion or a current champion, because it's the WBA regular belt. Regardless, though, Tanahara is still a decent prospect. He just is not beating Ryan Garcia. Who do you think wins that fight now?
I'm not going to change my mind.
Do you think it's, a tough fight at least?
Of course, he's.
Because I want to say previously you didn't think it was going to be as tough. You thought Tanahara could just outbox him because you thought Luke Campbell could just outbox him.
Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell wasn't outclassing him. Like I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna. If he could, like I said, when it got to the 6th round, I said, okay, good. Luke Campbell's gonna win the fight now. Like he'll just win these rounds. Like Garcia's kind of shot his load because he was so aggressive. When it got to the 6th round, I said, okay, Campbell will be in charge. He'll be in control. He'll outbox him, and that never happened. Garcia did a really good job boxing with him. So no, it's a really tough fight. I just think that Tanahara is quicker and more athletic. Although Campbell isn't athletic, but it's like he took really good dancing lessons. Like he pivots well, he turns well. For someone,
his technique is really spot on.
Really good, but he's coordinated, right? Like he's not that athletic, but he's really coordinated. Like he can do things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be able to do because he is so slow. I don't mean I picked Luke Campbell to win the fight.
Hold on. For a juxtaposition a little bit, like Lawrence Okoli is a slow non-athlete that does not look fluid. You know what I mean? Like it looks like he struggles, right? Because he's not an athlete. Like you can tell he is trying extra hard because he's not an athlete. Luke Campbell, it does look effortless because his technique is flawless. It's very fluid, but he's still not an athlete. There's a difference in their ability to apply technique actually in the ring and the fluidity of their technique. So I get your point. Not all non-athletes are automatically not good boxers or non-fluid. Same like Paulie Malignaggi in a sense. Like Paulie had really good technique. He was a fluid boxer. Just wasn't an athlete.
He's a better athlete than Luke Campbell. He can move. he can circle. Luke Campbell can't circle. He's got, he turned, he does, whoever taught him how to fight who's his trainer, by the way? I wish Rob was on this. Whoever taught him how to fight did one hell of a job.
92. Who the fuck is Tanahara if Gary is talking about him? I'm guessing he's a Texas boxer. Yeah, Tanahara, a Golden Boy fighter too, and a prospect at 135.
Ryan Garcia ducked during the pandemic.
And was that? I'm trying to remember that whole story now. Wasn't that when we had Eddie Hearn admit that Tanahara ducked him or something like that?
No, that was Devin Haney.
That was okay. I knew that because I knew it was Eddie Hearn involved. That it couldn't be Ryan Garcia, so I was confused by that. That was Haney.
Ryan
Tanahara ducked Haney, but Ryan Garcia ducked Tanahara. There you go.
I would say let's focus on the latter and not so much the former.
Okay, Gary. Let's talk about the biggie, the last big fight of 2020. Ioka completely like icing Tanaka, even though he really didn't ice him. But like in my mind, he did. Like what transpired in that, I think it was 7th round as well, was devastating to watch as a Tanaka fan, to be quite honest, especially after the success he had throughout the fight. I thought Tanaka had a lot of success in the fight, but clearly Ioka's defense ability to create angles and moments to capitalize on his offense and his counters, he kept catching Tanaka, and he wasn't taking as much damage as I think Tanaka was hoping that he was taking. And all of a sudden, I think it was in the 7th round. Again, I should probably look it up as I'm talking, but I'm not because I'm talking. Ioka caught him, and it was over. It was quite apparent that, oh, this is changing. And Ioka caught him finally. And it kind of felt like that for a couple rounds before that it was Tanaka struggling, trying to find success, and Ioka catching him and hurting him and catching him and hurting him, and Tanaka not being able to hurt him. Fascinating matchup, fascinating fight. Gary, your thoughts on Ioka Tanaka that happened on New Year's Eve?
All right. First, I want to say this was a great way to start the year. That was a great way to end the year. That was a great fight. It happened the very last day. I was up till, 4 a.m?
Yeah.
Watching that fight. And I couldn't, I'm glad they put the co-main on after the main event. I love how they do that in Japan. For my sake, I get to go to bed. Did you watch the Higa fight? Not me either. I went to bed. It was late.
I was tired.
And I was amped up from that. Like I was like, that was, obviously I was right. Correct, right? Like I said that
obviously I was right about Ryan Garcia completely, and Gary was wrong. Yes. 1-1 this weekend. We're 1-1. A tie. It's okay.
But Ioka, that wasn't the fight of the year, but it was really good, right? It's in the top 10 fights of the year, and I think Ioka's performance goes right with Teofimo Lopez's performance as the best singular performance of the year. That was so good. I thought Tanaka, I guess it was whatever round, like 3rd and the 4th, I thought Tanaka started to really switch things up, and I thought Tanaka was in control, and just then he started getting clocked with left hooks, and you could see that Ioka had found something because he was just looking for the left hook, and every time he found it, it was like throwing an inside fastball at Barry Bonds. It's gone. It's out of here. He's going to crush it, and every time he did it, he crushed it, and he crushed him. He knocked him down twice with it 2 rounds in a row, and then it came later, and the one that finished him, I thought it was an early stoppage. I went back and looked at it. His legs were gone. Like he was on his way of doing a funny dance. Like if you think it was an early stoppage, it wasn't. Go back. The ref actually did a great job in stopping that fight. Tanaka's legs were shot, but Tanaka's not through. Tanaka can still fight like with these guys at 115. I just, like I said from the beginning, I think Ioka's kind of the guy that kind of spoils all of this for everyone. Just like Usyk's going to be the guy that spoils AJ and Fury. Like, Ioka doesn't, like I said, Ioka does so many things so well, right? Like, he can beat you in a number of ways, where Tanaka has to just fight you in the mid-range, right? And land his heavy artillery. Ioka can pressure you. Ioka can fight from distance. Ioka could go in and out on you. Ioka can do a lot of things. So I think he has a blueprint to beating almost any fighter. This was a really good performance. You could tell like he saw something with the left hook, and like that was going to be the fight. That was going to be the punch at the end of the fight, and it was.
First off, your comparison to Usyk is blasphemy. Okay, I'm just point that out, get that out of the way, and table that, because I can't believe you just try to compare Ioka to Usyk and his ability to play spoiler in this division. Ridiculous. Usyk took shots from Chaz fucking Witherspoon. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Tabling that. 92 in the chat saying, how about Golden Boy's catchphrase? It's golden time. Kind of lame, right? Yes, that was very fucking lame. Have to bring that up because that was really lame. I don't want to forget that. And to your point about the stoppage, I want to bring that up and talk about that for a second. I do think, gun to my head, it was the right stoppage because of what we saw happen afterwards that Tanaka could not stand. Right? But when that shot landed and he's doing the two-step and he's about to go down, I don't think we could state that at that time, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that really thinks that it did a disservice to Tanaka to not let him at least just go down and just fail the count, not be able to get up, because he wouldn't be able to get up, in my opinion. But the dude's a 3-weight champion, you know, come up to his 4th division. I think he was owed that, in a sense, that he was owed the chance to get up and to make this something epic if he had the ability. We've already seen Tanaka be able to bounce back from adversity and massive damage in the Sho Kimura fight. We've seen Tanaka go the full 12 and get knocked down and take damage. We've seen that. So there's a part of me that thinks that, it was a disservice to Tanaka and what he has already accomplished in his career to not give him that opportunity. Even though, with what we know and a little bit of hindsight, obviously, he wasn't going to meet that opportunity. He wasn't going to get up, most likely. But he still is owed that chance, in my opinion. Regardless of that, though, you were absolutely right that around 6th round, maybe 5th round, the success of Tanaka seemed to be counterproductive. It seemed like it was quicksand almost. Like the more he was fighting Ioka, the more Ioka was able to catch him. And Tanaka was kind of lost there, and he didn't know how to adapt to that counter left hook. And his solution was, I got to swarm him enough to where he can't throw back. I'm going to throw enough shots at enough velocity, enough speed and power that he has to show up, and I'll get my shots off. I'll damage him up that way. And what we saw is that, especially in the replay, because I'll be honest, on live, it looked like a lot of those combinations from Tanaka were effective. And then on replay, it was amazing how Ioka was able to deflect, parry, dodge, whatever, these shots and these combinations at an extreme fucking level. So, again, by round 6 or whenever that was, it was clear that Tanaka was almost tiring himself out in a sense, though that's probably a wrong term to use, because he was throwing everything he had at Ioka and it wasn't working. And he was getting caught. And it was quite clear, even from the first round, that there was a power difference. Right? It was just, can Tanaka get over that by his combination work, by his jab? Because his jab was beautiful. We didn't state that yet either. Tanaka's jab almost won him the fight, except that Ioka was able to time it eventually. And that became his undoing. That this great tool that he used in the first 4 or 5 rounds all of a sudden became a tool that worked against him. And it's just, again, a really intriguing, fascinating fight in that way, because it was a fight of Tanaka doing more as the rounds progressed, throwing more combinations, more landed shots, but Ioka actually having more success. It's intriguing that way. I do think, though, that, like I predicted, if Ioka wins this, it 100% means Roman Gonzalez is going to get beat up in his fight, and it's going to be sad and depressing to watch. And we're going to get Estrada Ioka instead of Roman Gonzalez Tanaka, which is the fight that I really want. That's just going to happen. It's Murphy's Law now. God hates me. And we're going to get Roman Gonzalez getting knocked out again. I'm calling it right now.
Ioka is still going to ruin this for everyone in the division. Like, he was the one that, like, everyone kind of ignored. And then he's going to run the table, and he's going to beat everybody. Chocolatito fight and Estrada. When is that? February?
Yeah, I think so.
Boy. And then when is Ioka versus the winner of that fight?
Whenever.
Because that better just be made immediately, right? Like, There's no reason for that not to get made. Let's just do it for July.
Yeah.
Let's just Ioka versus the winner in July.
Unless like Estrada or Gonzalez takes a lot of damage, we can do it in the fall. Right. I'm okay with pushing it back and them not fighting either one. Right. Like if they need to take some time off for damage.
Yeah, Ioka doesn't like to. Ioka's fought 5 straight New Year's Eves. It's like his day. It's like how Mayweather used to always fight on the Kentucky Derby. Like, what is it, the May, whatever, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, that first Saturday of May. New Year's Eve is now Ioka's day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ever since Inoue went to Top Rank and stopped like being stopped centralizing his business in Japan, he stopped being on New Year's Eve's cards. And Tanaka, to all his credit, this was the fight that he needed, I think, to put him over in both Japan and in the greater boxing world too. Not that his career was suspect anyway. I think he's had a great career. I think he's been a legitimate 3-division champion. But there was something missing. There was like a legacy fight missing that he hadn't had yet, in a sense.
Yeah.
When like Roman Gonzalez and Inoue had a couple legacy fights to this point, so to speak. This was it for Tanaka, and he lost. I'm very curious how he bounces back, to be honest, especially if he stays at this weight class, which I think he will, because he looked like he grew into this weight class in terms of size. But maybe this is biting off too much too soon, and in terms of competition level at 115.
Tanaka did look like the bigger guy, but he was also fighting a guy who comes up from much smaller weight classes too. But he did. He looked bigger to me. He looked like the bigger guy in the ring.
Yeah, I would love to see for names that I would like to see a Tanaka fight. Charlie Edwards would make some sense. Mick Williams Arroyo would make some sense. Kid Yafe would make some sense.
Yeah.
Guys of that ilk. Yeah. Centron, I thought he looked really good against Ioka. I mean, that would maybe make sense. Fight the guy that also lost to Ioka last year. Do you think, though, at this point that Ioka beats whoever wins Estrada Gonzalez? He wins that fight. Ioka beats the winner of that fight.
I mean, that's some fight, man. I mean, look, if they fought 10 times, you wouldn't get the same winner 10 times. All right, so it depends on what day they fight. I wouldn't say he definitely. I'm probably going to pick Ioka, right? But I wasn't really confident when I picked him to beat Tanaka. I'm not going to be real confident when I pick him to beat the winner of Chocolate, unless Chocolatito or Estrada goes out there and blows out the other one. Then but I don't see that happening. So assuming that this is a real competitive fight, I'll probably take Ioka to win, but I'm not going to have a ton of confidence in that. I mean,
I'm probably leaning your way now. I'm probably going to lean Ioka in that matchup. Because to be honest, you think about especially like Estrada. I think Estrada's going to beat Roman Gonzalez, like I stated already. So let's just, for argument's sake, say it's Estrada versus Ioka. The same traps that Ioka found with Tanaka, I think, are there with Estrada. Right? In terms of ducking under that jab, finding that opening for that weird, almost 45-degree angle, uppercut, left hook.
Does Estrada fight better on the inside, though?
He does, but not exponentially more than Tanaka. Both are mid-range fighters.
Yeah.
Right? And what we saw with, let's say, Quadras with his last fight with Estrada is that if you're a little bit of an unorthodox fighter, you give Estrada a lot of issues. Okay? Even if you go back to Roman Gonzalez and Estrada way back in the day, Roman Gonzalez is not a orthodox fighter in the way he sets up combinations, the way he works with combinations, the way he sets off angle shots. I think there's something to that with Estrada, that he is susceptible to being countered and being tagged off of his own offense by these unorthodox inside fighters. And to a degree, that's what Rungs VI had a lot of success in the first fight with Estrada. Even the second fight was being able to get under that jab of Estrada and find success on the inside. The second fight, Estrada was able to keep Rungs VI at the end of his jab for a large majority of that fight, and that's what gave him the decision. I don't think that's going to be the same with Ioka. Ioka's shown us that if he's dealing with a supremely pound for pound level jab, he'll find a way past that motherfucker. And then it's his game in a lot of ways. And then you have to play catch up. So I don't know about that. I'm leaning Ioka against Estrada, even though Estrada is obviously, technically speaking, better than Tanaka, more established, obviously, in the division and stuff like that. Probably bigger, stronger than Tanaka in this division. But I'm still picking Ioka in largely the same fashion of what we just saw a couple days ago. A couple comments from the chat. Someone saying that Charlie Edwards is a bum. Come on, Matt. I mean, dude, Tanaka just got knocked out in his first loss. You want to fight Rungziai? Like, you want to fight Nkajas, who's an actual champion? Like, you just, if you want that, cool, man. Like, you're just gonna end up with another Fernando Vargas. I hope we all know that. And Heath Farley, this motherfucker, saying throw Martinez up at 115, and Ioka will eat him up too.
Julio Cesar Martinez versus Ioka.
Hey, just like you with Texas fighters, that's an Eddie Reneso fighter, man.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
I'm picking Julio Cesar Martinez all fucking day, but secretly nervous as hell. But I mean, I'll put it this way: I think style-wise, Martinez probably has an easier matchup with Ioka than Tanaka did, because what Ioka does well, inside work, slipping off the center line, working off angle combinations, Martinez does that. Right?
Yeah.
I think he throws the more volume. So the only difference is that Martinez's defense is definitely not as good as Ioka. So Ioka is probably going to be able to land more without being hit as much. So that's a factor that I don't want to dwell on because it makes my pick sound wrong. Gary, any other thoughts on Tanaka, Ioka?
No, I just want to say I think Tanaka should fight Rungvisai next.
Tanaka should?
Yeah, why not?
No.
Why you want to take a tune-up fight first?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, you want him to face that
one guy to fight after getting knocked out? I mean,
dude, like, are you just mean?
I think he could. I'm not saying he would win. I think he could win. Like, I don't think Tanaka. I still think I had Tanaka on my pound for pound list.
No. It's not about like.
I don't think Tanaka.
No. I don't think Tanaka's shit now. No. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Tanaka's shit now. The dude took a knockout loss in his first loss.
All right, so have him fight Rashi Warren. Is Rashi Warren still around?
Not in this weight class though.
118.
Yeah, 118.
All right, have him fight at 116.
Yo, poor Rashi Warren, man. That's mean too. That dude has faced everyone and is just like lost a lot. Poor guy. No, he just deserves a tune-up. I mean, I thought this was like common.
Zolani Tete. Have him fight Tete. That's somebody who's not good, who everybody likes.
Again, not in this weight class, Gary.
Tete's what? Oh, he's 118?
Yes.
Yeah, he's 118.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Look, I think obviously, like us as boxing fans, we don't like when fighters are on like a winning streak and they're champion taking tune-ups. But a guy that just lost his first fight and got knocked out, and you want to face another pound-for-pound level fighter? Oh, that's just, again, mean.
All right, so have him go down to 112 and fight Edwards can't punch. Sonny Edwards. Have him fight him.
I said Charlie Edwards.
Charlie Edwards.
Because he has more of a name value. That's the reason why I picked Charlie Edwards.
Neither one of them could punch, so he could fight both of them in the same day. I like the Edwards. I think they're both skilled. I'm just saying they can't punch. Right? Like, I don't think they're bad fighters at all.
Absolutely. I love when like the UK fans come in and like they want to make like what happens when their fighters lose like a whole US versus UK thing, where it's like us UK fans are so much better than you guys because we still love these losers.
I love every one of my Texas fighters after they lose. Every one of them.
Like what world do these UK fans live in where like they are this like exponentially superior fans where they love anyone no matter if they win or lose, and Americans are like these evil like greedy fans that hate everyone unless you're like Mayweather.
That's kind of like
all these people like do they think
It was like in Rocky IV, where they had it was U.S. versus Communist Russia, and U.S. was the little underarmed guy. It's like I'm pretty sure the U.S. has the biggest, most expansive military in the history of the world. I don't know how you made America the little guy in this fight. That was
all right.
that was
Big Juicy in the chat saying we're saying we hate the losers, dummy. You have it backwards. First off, you're not saying that. I'll read your comment out and actually put it on the screen for people to read. Americans see it different to us in the UK. We're ashamed of Campbell because we don't care if you're not great as long as you show heart. We love Chisora even though he ain't great because he gives it his all. First off, this isn't the most coherent statement in the fucking world. Big Juicy Texas or White Tea or whatever your name is. Okay. You're saying kind of verbatim, actually, that you're ashamed of Campbell. Yes. But you said right after that, we don't care if you're not great as long as you show heart. So, no, that's not what you said.
Did American fans not love Mickey Ward and Toro Gatti? I don't follow that. Like, really? I mean, they're two of the most beloved fighters in recent boxing history. Mickey Ward had a movie made after him, right? He's invited to the Hall of Fame every year. My kid is named after Toro Gatti. I don't follow. Like, I just don't follow that.
We're Americans. We don't.
You like Evander Holyfield more than Lennox Lewis. Lewis was more skilled, but Holyfield had more heart. So you like Holyfield better, right?
It's just weird, These really like delineations that people want to make between fan bases that are largely the same. I mean, that's the funny part, right? Like, I talked to you about your Texas fandom, and it sounds like I'm talking to a UK fan. You know why? Because that's how fans of fucking sports talk and behave and act. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. This is why Trump was elected. All Americans have about 2 brain cells. Dude, what? Do you need to read your own comment again? Here, read it again. We don't care if you're not great as long as you show heart. Are you trying to say that Campbell didn't show heart, so you all hate him now? Is that what he's trying to say? But then he's also stating what I said, that UK fans love people that lose. Because all that matters is that you show heart. But we do that here. Like when Wilder lost to Fury, did Wilder fans stop liking Wilder?
No, they just made excuses for him.
Exactly. What the fuck are this? What? Oh my God. People are so stupid. Oh my God. Look at this person. Trump is against war. I guess you love war-hungry Biden. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my!
Let it go, Matt. Let it go. Let it go. It's not worth it. It's not.
No. No. Do these people know who they're talking to?
First, Trump's not against war. He dropped as many bombs as anybody. And 2, Matt doesn't like Biden at all. So, like, you're talking to the wrong person.
And you're not even right. Like, your original statement's not even right. My head hurts.
Just let it go, Matt. Let it go.
Man. Anyways, Gary, yes, socialist Matt Hunter. Then why are you saying I like Biden? Are you that fucking stupid? You think Biden's a socialist? A fucking neoliberal piece of shit. Come on.
Let it go, Matt. Let it go. It's not worth it, Matt. It's not worth it.
You're right. As I've been trying to teach people in my family, if things don't matter, it just doesn't matter. You can move on. You're right. I don't have it up because I was trying to get it up and then we could start talking about shit and I forgot to pull it up. The news about the Canelo Alvarez deal I want to briefly talk about. And I believe Eddie Renesso confirmed it. Right? I believe it's a 2-fight deal with Matchroom. One is Billy Joe Saunders, and the other, I forget who was the name mentioned. I want to say it was either Andrade or Triple G. I forget who it was. Let's state, for argument's sake, that this is official. It's happening. After Yeardom, we're getting a 2-fight sort of deal with Matchroom, where he fights Billy Joe Saunders at 168, and then presumably either Andrade or Triple G moving up to 168 to fight Canelo. Gary, your thoughts on that deal? Your thoughts on that next sort of path for Canelo Alvarez?
The only path I like for Canelo Alvarez is the one that leads to Caleb Plant. That's the only That's the only path I like for Canelo. Canelo doesn't have any obligation to match him, right? It was just a one fight thing, right? So why is he being linked to these fighters? I mean, it's fine. Those fights are fine, but the fight that he needs to get made is Caleb Plant, because those are the two best guys that are at 168. Matt. So let it go.
Do you see it? Do you see the chat?
I don't, but I can see your face. Like, I don't see the chat because I'm talking about Caleb Plant, and you're gonna
go. Sorry, I'll rant at this motherfucker after you talk. I'm sorry. You go.
No, it's your turn now.
Matt, I guess you loved Barack Obama. Ah. Do these people not know what socialism or communism is? Why, Gary?
He's baiting. I feel like he's baiting you.
I just can't. I have ranted and done so much videos about neoliberal Democrats that I'm so mad at people that watch the show habitually, even just the MCR show, because this guy I've seen has watched the show a few times, that will just say that shit. Because, like, I'm pretty open about my political beliefs. And that has gotten me into some hot water, of course. And, we disagree on politics, Gary. But Jesus fucking Christ. Have I ever sounded like an Obama Biden supporter?
It's just like they just put everyone who's like
either one or the other. One
right.
camp or the other camp.
Yeah.
There's no like nuance. There's no
nuances. It's red team or blue team. That's it. And like that's it. It's like Red Sox or Yankees, Ohio State, Michigan, Auburn, Alabama. Like, you just pick one. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's it. And so he's putting you on blue team. That's like as much. Am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Hold on. Somebody came at you though, Gary, about your Caleb Plant take. I love it. Thank you, Shill Killa, for getting us back on track. Thank you. I actually really appreciate this. This guy is a delusional Caleb Plant fanboy. Plant turned down the Canelo fight twice. He's trash.
False. He turned it down once because he wasn't going to take it on short. He wasn't going to take it on a short turnaround. Okay, so that's false. He's turned it down once. The second time, Al Hamilton will gladly take it next year, but he couldn't put another pay-per-view on in 2020. So that's just false. Okay, he turned it down once because Canelo wanted him to turn around and fight a couple months later. Okay, and the second time, Al Hamilton, they would gladly make it, but it had to happen in January or February of this year, and Canelo didn't want to wait. So that's not true. And I'm not even a Caleb Plant fan. I met Caleb Plant. He was rude to me. I said, Jordan Harden, you married poorly, right?
To his face?
No.
Oh.
I did meet him again. He was at the because Jordan Hardy worked when Brandon Figueroa fought down in the Valley, the Rio Grande Valley, and he was at the fight, and I got to talk to him the way, and he was actually pretty cool then. But I met him once, and it was like the most unpleasurable experience I had. He was at a bar after he fought in Houston on Halloween back in like 2015. It's so early in his career, right? Like, no one even knew who he was. And he had his nickname, Sweet Hands. I was like, oh, it's Sweet Hands, right? Like, look at that. And he looked at me like, shut up. Like, don't talk to me. I'm like, all right, but no one knows who you are. Like, there's many people in this bar know me as you, so shut your mouth, okay? I didn't say that, of course, but like, I'm not a Caleb Plant fan. I told that story before, right?
Yeah, but I think this is probably a relatively new listener. I haven't seen this guy before.
Okay, I'm not a Caleb Plant fan. I think he's really, really skilled. I think he's really, really good. I don't root for Caleb Plant.
Caleb has Benavides problems. Yeah, that's right, Shokilla. Get at Gary. Get at him. Why is Caleb Plant ducking Canelo and Dave Benavides? Doesn't want that Mexican smoke?
I don't think he's ducking any of them.
I want to talk shit.
I mean,
I will say this though, and I was of this mindset before we got Callum Smith. I rather us see Billy Joe Saunders versus Callum Smith and Dave Benavidez versus Caleb Plant than Canelo Alvarez picking them one off at a time.
So you said Billy Joe versus Callum Smith.
Yeah, before we got Canelo, that's what I wanted.
So who did you want Canelo fight at that time? And then what was the other one?
I wanted to face Triple G.
Triple G again? Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I'm not a Triple G fan, but like I just want that story to be done with. I feel like we're already done with it, but there's still so many fans that aren't.
You want to watch Triple G get beat up.
Absolutely.
You want to see how much, because he's got an iron cast jaw for sure. You want to see how much he can take.
Yes, absolutely. And I like Triple G. He's such a nice guy. You know, I've had drinks with him. He's a good guy. But
he does not like Oscar De La Hoya though.
No, he does not. No, he does not. Who has Plant fought? Don't worry, I'll wait. I mean, he only has like one win of note, to be honest, and it was Gottlieb, who then lost to Lionel Thompson. So
Foogatti, who beat Andre Durrell badly twice, but the first time he got disqualified because Andre Durrell played dead, which he likes to do.
That was so stupid.
No, man.
That made me so mad too. Let alone like the whole like was it his cousin or uncle?
I think it was his uncle.
Okay, his uncle who punched Uzgatgi's.
Yeah.
It was Uzgatgi himself or his trainer?
It was Uzgatgi's trainer, yeah.
No, he punched Uzgatgi, didn't he?
I remember the melee. I don't really remember the particulars. It's a couple of years ago already. Like, this is a few years ago.
And boxing time is like fucking dog food, man. I swear to God, it's hard to remember all this shit. No, I mean, I think Caleb Plant and a lot of these guys are good fights for Canelo, but they don't have the resume to where they're great fights for Canelo, if that makes sense. And how they would create great legacies is fighting each other. So, yeah, I'm always of the mindset that these guys need to sort of create something first and then fight Canelo. Because you think about like when Mayweather fought all of those really good to great opponents, like from 2006 on, all of them had built-in careers and legacies and resumes before they got to Mayweather. A lot of these guys are getting their legacy-defining fight through Canelo. They haven't really built their own legacy yet. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it shortchanges how good these fights actually are. Because we don't have a real perception on those four fighters at 168. Callum Smith, we all now, I think, don't value that highly because of how easy Canelo dealt with him. But if Callum Smith had beat Billy Joe Saunders, he would have a really great win to fall back on to where we go, no, he's still really good. He just can't beat Canelo. But now I'm thinking, can he beat Caleb Plant? Can he beat Billy Joe Saunders? Can he beat Dave Benavidez? Can he beat fucking Ivani Yildirim? Can he beat John Ryder in a rematch? Like, these are all things that I'm now questioning with Callum Smith because he doesn't have that legacy, that resume to fall back on after he loses the big money fight. And I think that, again, just devalues the era in a bit and Canelo's legacy as well. But digressing from that point. Any other thoughts, Gary, on Canelo and what's next for him? Because I think it is weird what's happening with the Matchroom deal, and he's going to be on DAZN again. It's just odd. But I'm not too surprised that at least he's facing the Matchroom fighters first. I feel like that's an easier negotiation to have because he's already had negotiations with Eddie Hearn numerous times now.
What question? Like, what am I answering there?
I'm just saying, like, in terms of Canelo and what's next for him, this isn't too surprising for me. Instead of facing Caleb Plant or Benavidez, because he's already had a working relationship with Eddie Hearn more than Al Heyman and PBC.
Yeah,
he has worked with them before. Obviously, Mayweather being famously in that discussion, Laura as well. But recently, he's worked a lot with Matchroom on DAZN. He wants to be there for a couple more fights and then jettison off to something else. I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, there's the fights I really want to see.
Yeah,
are on the other side, Charlo and Caleb Plant. And I don't even know if I really want to see the Charlo fight. I mean, I want my boy to get the chance, get the payday, see what he can do with it. You know, it's boxing. Anything can happen, right? Like Pavek getting knocked out. Right? Like, Anything can happen, but I don't like. There was a time when I thought Charlo. Like, I think Eddie Hearn really thought Jacobs was going to be the guy to beat Canelo, right? And that's why he went after him as aggressively as he did. Like, I really thought Charlo, as the quintessential boxer puncher, was the guy that was going to beat Canelo, right? I don't think that anymore, right? Like, I don't think my boy Charlo can beat him, so I don't want to see him lose to Canelo. But look, I mean, it would be the biggest payday of anyone's career, right? To fight Canelo. So I still hope my boy gets the fight. I just don't expect him to win now. But no, I'm not surprised that he's working with Matchroom. He has the working relationship with them. He's not in a long-term. He's not obligated to him long-term. There's good fights for him over there to be made. There's just not the fights. There's Andre and Triple G. I don't think he's going to fight Triple G again because I don't think he likes Triple G and doesn't want to give him the satisfaction. But like to Matt's point, like wouldn't it be fun for him at this stage of their career just to beat on Triple G? Like, wouldn't that bring you some? I don't know. Like, maybe you can knock him out. You probably can, but Triple G's chin is epic. Like, it's like well, he's gonna have to beat him down over time, right? Like, I don't think anyone ices Triple G's chin because Canelo hit him with the shot that ices people, and Triple G went right. Like,
I'm thinking that Canelo beats him up to the body and finishes him.
And that's how it would have to be. Yeah, beat him up to the body, slow him down, and then
PSK is saying, wait, you literally said this was not the case when I mentioned Canelo working with Eddie in the future, especially international fights. I said I didn't think he had to for international fights, right? And in that context, I believe PSK, when I'm remembering especially about the international part to it, we were talking about solely the idea of if we have Canelo Promotions, will we offset international distribution to a Matchroom Promotions or a DAZN? And I said I don't think that's that would be the dynamic relationship between them. I also didn't think I predicted, I should say, I didn't predict he'll come back to DAZN in this fashion. However, it's not surprising. That's a different term. It's not surprising if he wants to take the easier fights that he's already been in working relationship with. Like it's the easier business path in the short term. So I get it if that makes sense. Like I understand why Canelo is making this decision for this, little 2-fight deal with Matchroom. And I don't even know if that's explicitly a 2-fight deal in the sense that he is now under a promotional contract with them. But regardless, what I was more hesitant on was the idea, especially again in the context of your question, PSK, or statement, the context of Canelo, let's say he works with or he fights Caleb Plant or Benavidez or somebody that's non-affiliated, right? Somebody that's not with PBC or Matchroom or Golden Boy, that he would then offset international distribution through Matchroom or DAZN. I said that seemed unlikely. If Canelo is doing a completely separate operation domestically in the U.S., the idea that he would offset any sort of production to another promoter when he's doing it internally, domestically, just didn't make a lot of sense. That's what I stated. Okay. PSK saying, Matt, when promoters have existing contracts with these locations, it may work out cheaper for the fighter to co-promote and pay the promotional fee. That was my main point. No, you might be right about that. But at this point in time, that still means working with DAZN. And I think if Canelo is in a position where he domestically, he doesn't have to work with DAZN, internationally, I don't think he will. That's just my guess. Okay, that's my prediction. Okay. I hope I answered your thoughts there, PSK. I don't know if I did perfectly, but I tried. Gary, anything else we're missing in the boxing world? Because I don't have topics lined up or pulled up. I think like Munguia versus.
Oh, good, yeah.
Was it Munguia?
Munguia and Triple G? I'm with it. Like, is that weird?
No, I'm happy with it.
Okay, I mean, I think Triple G wins because of his chin, but and he's better, right? Like, he's still better than Munguia. So I think Triple G wins, but I think it's a lot of fun while it lasts.
I think it's one of those fights where if you're gonna give Munguia that huge step up, Triple G is at the point where he's fading, right? So maybe he has success there and it looks good, even losing a fair. So I see why they view like Triple G as like a wounded animal, like an old animal that they can prey on. But I just don't see Munguia winning that fight. Even like in the worst case scenario for Triple G, he still beats him up, I would say, towards the end, right?
The best thing they do is they stand toe to toe, and Munguia lands some shots, but eats a lot more shots in return and gets knocked out. Right? Like there's no path to victory for Munguia because Munguia is a fun fighter, and I like Munguia. Right? I like watching him fight, but he's not that good. Right? Like he's not that good.
No, like if it was purely an amateur boxing affair, right? Like Triple G wins on points.
Yeah.
Because he's just a better boxer. Let alone like in a professional setting, the idea of like them getting beat up, them getting knocked out, like them getting hurt, 12 rounds of action instead of like 3 or 4. It absolutely seems like Munguia is not going to make the full 12. If he does, and he's exciting in a losing affair, which is possible, I think that's the worst case scenario for Triple G, is that Triple G is in a dogfight, like Derevchenko style, with Munguia, but still wins.
Nah, I mean, Derevchenko isn't as big, I guess, as Munguia, right? He's short and stuff, but like he's good on the inside. He throws nice. Munguia just kind of is like a blunt object. You know what I'm saying? He just comes at you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's fun to watch, right? But he doesn't have anything for Triple G. The best he can do is try to trade shots with him on the inside, which he loses that battle, right? Like he can't outbox him on the inside. He's not going to outland him on the inside. He's not a better craftsman on the inside. Triple G is, right? So there's really no path to victory for him, but it can be a fun fight to watch.
And likewise, like I don't think if you put like Munguia against the other top guys, whether it's Charlo Andrade or whoever we're talking about at the very top of middleweight, he loses to them probably worse off. And plus, those guys are his contemporaries in a sense.
Yeah.
So it looks worse. If he loses to Triple G in a dogfight, and even if he gets knocked out, but it's a dogfight still, like he has moments of success, he's able to hit Triple G shots, which he should be able to, then you can sell it. You can package that up. You can reprogram it, repromote it. It should not be a long-term issue to make him Munguia like a Southwestern Mexico star. Right?
He did a massive draw in San Antonio. I really think that he can be a draw because he fights fun. He's never in a boring fight, and like he said, he's got the right fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. PSK coming back with that international distribution topic. I think he's angling it to an interesting aspect. When obviously I asked if I answered it properly, he said kind of. But international distribution may be what Canelo is looking for to further his brand. Mexican superstar expanding to Asia, Middle East, Europe, Africa equals dollar signs. I think obviously the generally speaking, of course, you have a Mexican superstar, a North American superstar. I think we can even expand it to that as well. That him expanding his business operation or endorsement deals or whatever to other markets is absolutely smart business. I don't think DAZN is the pathway for international distribution in that way. It might be an easier way because your DAZN is now in a lot of countries worldwide, but they don't have a giant market share in those countries. Like, think about this, PSK. Like, how long has it been that DAZN's been in the US and it's like failed to gain a lot of like mainstream traction? It's only been a month or so, I want to say, right, since DAZN has launched globally. So think about all these countries that you are maybe thinking of that Canelo can sort of activate these markets and become a product in those markets in some fashion, right? Become a commodity in those markets in some fashion, right? Through advertisement deals, whatever it may be. Obviously, get his fights distributed in those countries, all that stuff. But if DAZN is has a very tiny market share of the entertainment market in those respective countries, comparative to whatever respective terrestrial TV networks or online networks they have, then does it do anything? Does it actually present him a sort of capitalization on new markets? I think, again, I don't have the data in front of me on DAZN, but I would need to see that data to really make a determination on that. Like when we talk about Africa Asia, the Middle East, Europe, how many homes is DAZN in? How many people will have DAZN? Like, that's a legitimate question. Now, it might be harder and more time-consuming logistically to go to each market in each country that you want to deal in and make a deal with the major TV network there. But you're going to capitalize on it more. So you're absolutely right that at this stage, Canelo is potentially focusing on more international business aims because he's already sort of conquered an entire continent. But is DAZN that pathway towards international distribution and success in international distribution? And not just fighting, not just his fights. You have to think about long-term in other avenues. And that is where I don't know. I don't know DAZN's numbers comparative and respective to whatever markets we can look at and juxtapose DAZN with the respective TV networks there. Gary, I don't know if you want to jump on that since you're, a finance dude.
No,
trademark that.
Again, I'll make it. I mean, DAZN is global in the sense that you can get it anywhere in the world. Does that mean that everyone all over the world? Like Matt said, it's the easiest path, right? Because it is available. I don't know that it's the best path. No, I pretty much agree with everything Matt just said. I mean, I think, I'm not being rude to the guy asking me a question, but like we've discussed this before. And
like this guy saying that DAZN's big in Europe and Africa, like
that's great. That's great.
Hold on. Are they? Like they say that.
I mean, yeah.
We know that DAZN has decent rights in Germany and Italy and Spain. Those are 3 countries out of many in Europe.
And what's big? Like in America, there are 80 million people who have Disney Plus, right? How many houses? 100 million houses have ESPN. So what I mean that if that's big, I mean, what's big? Define what you mean by big, right? Like 1 million people is a lot, but that's not big, right? I mean, it's not
like worldwide. Like,
right? I mean,
market. You're talking about 7 billion people now. If we're really talking that to expanding your brand, if you're Canelo, to expanding your brand from, I forget how many people live in North America. Let's say it's roughly 500 million people. To expand that now to 7 billion people is hard. Like, that's difficult to do, and I don't think DAZN has the infrastructure for that. And you said Africa. Like, I haven't seen any numbers or metrics on their rights in Africa. So I don't know where you're getting these numbers of PSK. I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm saying that I have not seen them. So PSK, you obviously follow me on Twitter. We talk. Send me a link, man. Like, I'm very curious to see their metrics in Nigeria, their metrics in Ethiopia, their metrics in South Africa. Like, these are all facets to this equation that we have to calculate. We can't just state that DAZN is big, therefore, or DAZN is global, so therefore it's smart business for international distribution. It was a far bigger aspect to global finance and economics than just access to a product. And that
the
means
population of North America is 579 million. Good job, Matt. Good job. I would have guessed about 750. I would have guessed a lot more than that.
How much was it? Sorry?
570.
Well, because America is roughly about 350. The only other countries would be Canada and Mexico, right?
Well, Mexico's got to have well over 100 million people. I mean, there's a lot of people in Mexico.
Yeah, but Canada doesn't have a high population.
No, I guess that's just a massive country. I mean, most of it's unlivable.
Maybe because I don't know about you, because you live in a big state too. But we always in California, we would joke at our Canadian friends because we would have Canadian immigrants or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We would joke that we have more people living in one state in our country than the entire population in yours. Because I think for a long time, California had a bigger population than the population of Canada.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think that's the case anymore.
What is it, 40 million people in California, roughly?
Roughly. I want to say it's more like 30 million now.
No, because Texas has 30 and California still has a bigger population. Population of Canada. I think Canada's around 40 million. 37 million. Just about the same as California.
See? Math. Quick maths right there, guys. PSK saying, you do know from a financial perspective, Germany, Italy, and Spain are European powerhouses. I also work in finance. This is literally what I work in. Okay, PSK, then give me the data. What is the market share that DAZN has? Not in Germany, Italy, or Spain, because we already stated that those are countries that DAZN has a lot of market share in because of their TV rights, because of their licensing rights, I should say. Okay. I should also emphasize that Italy and Spain are no longer economic powerhouses in Europe and haven't been for some time. But besides that point, Germany is for sure. That is still 3 countries in Europe. Europe has roughly, let's say, like 25, 30 countries.
And that's 3 of them.
And that's 3 of them. You know what I mean? So when you talk about Europe, which has a population of, last time I checked, 800 million people, and you only isolate 3 countries, it's hard. It's hard to talk about that. Just saying island countries don't have large populations like Australia, UK. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not stating that you can't capitalize on small markets. What I'm stating is that if you have a statement, declarative statement, that DAZN is big in Europe and Africa, it has to be big relative to those population sizes. If you want to talk about individual countries that are small, but you can still capitalize on those countries and those markets, that's a very separate conversation to have. Like whether you can make money in Italy as a sports broadcaster, or whether Canelo can make money in Italy through DAZN. We can talk about that.
Yeah, like I know something about Italy, and it's not sports craze like I mean, they watch the sports, they like sports. It's not sports craze culture like America is, right? Especially in the South, which basically all you do is watch sports and then go hunting and fishing, right? Like that's what you do. Like Italy's not like that. Like they watch soccer, they watch weird like track and fields, and you know. They watch the NBA, but it's not sports craze. Like as a kid growing up, I watched sports in my house every single night. Like after work, when my dad got home from work, we ate dinner, and then we watched sports. That's what you watched, right? Like, and then maybe twice a week, once a week you watch a show, and once a week you watch a movie. But like the other 5 nights a week, you watch sports all night long. Like, and that's not uncommon in America. Like in Italy, it's not sports crazy. Like they don't love soccer, they do, and they watch the NBA a lot, right? But they don't. It's not every single night year round where you watch sports. So it's just like I'm not a movie buff. Matt is. Like you're gonna have a lot easier time selling movies to Matt than me, right? Like it's just I'm not a huge movie guy. Matt is. So like it's like trying to sell hip hop to Rob. Like okay, he may appreciate a Jay-Z song, but it's not really my thing. It's not. This is not what gets me going. You know what I'm saying? It's Italy. It's not sports craze like it is in America.
PSK saying, PSK, I don't know if you're free, but I could probably get Skype up if you want. Let me know in the chat. I don't have my kid today. I had him for like the last 2 weeks for the holidays. I am free to talk for however long we want to talk about anything. Okay, you want to talk about Lethal Weapon again, guys? We can do that. Die Hard movies, which one's the Christmas movie? We can talk about that shit, okay? I'm here for all of you guys in the chat. But PSK is saying, and this is where I really want to debate you, PSK. And I wish we can talk because it's easier to talk than typing and me answering your comments in the live chat. I will give you an example. The EPL, which is the Premier League, rights in the UK alone were sold for $5 billion. DAZN equally has exclusive rights for mainland Europe, Africa, and even Canada. Now, if what I believe you're saying, PSK, is that DAZN has the EPL rights to show the EPL in Europe, mainland Europe, Africa, and Canada. But that's when we lose so much nuance there, because what does that mean? How if you're Nigeria and you were colonized by England, you probably watch the EPL. But if you're Burkina Faso and you were colonized by France, do you watch the EPL? You know what I mean? There's a lot of different countries within Africa that maybe don't watch the EPL. So we're working off of such limited data with DAZN that I feel like to really talk about it and as an international brand at this point in time is a little bit pointless, to be honest, because it's a new international brand. It'd be like us in August of 2018 going, okay, what's the zone going to be? You have to know right now. I don't know. I have no idea what the zone was going to look like in August of 2018 when it launched. Okay.
What's a cell phone going to look like in 25 years? I have no idea.
You know, and I know you keep bringing up Italy. We already said that the zone, from what we can tell, has a decent market share in Italy, in Germany, in Spain, because they have rights to those respective countries' biggest sports. I don't know the TV makeup of all these African countries, all these South American countries, all these Southeast, all these Asian countries, and how they respond to the EPL. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like we are. Somebody saying EPL is big in India. Yeah, but he didn't state that they have the EPL rights in India. Who has the EPL rights in India? What's the biggest TV network in India? How many homes have it? How many homes have DAZN in India? You know what I mean? Like, though that is a much bigger data point we need than them having licensing rights. Because you can have licensing rights, but if you still don't bring in subscribers, it doesn't fucking matter. Right? Like, let's say they even have Serie A in Italy, right? Because they do. But let's say, like, Italian fans rejected DAZN and they just decided to watch it illegally. And they didn't get the ROI they were looking for. That can still happen. So my point is, DAZN are willing to pay huge for EPL to show them in those markets. Those markets will inherently exist for Canelo to tap into. Yeah, but not all markets are the same size. Not all markets have the same velocity of accumulation.
All markets are the same size. New York and LA are about, the greater New York City and greater LA area about 20 million people. Omaha, Nebraska, Dallas, all the same size. All about 20 million people. Every market, Matt, is the same size. And they all have equal spending value, too. They all have equal spending money. They're all the same, Matt. That's how they make them. There's a one-size-fit-all market.
And they all have equal...
they're all equal size. Youth, dollars, they're all exactly the same, Matt.
So I just... The idea of, like, DAZN being big in these continents, I think is grossly overstated. And two... Getting back to Canelo and the idea of utilizing international distribution infrastructure, I don't know if DAZN's the best infrastructure to use to capitalize on new markets that you haven't been in. I don't think it has been. Okay? Like, that's just from what I can see, from what I can read and gather from the research that I've been able to conduct. You know, like, being successful in one market does not mean you're going to be successful in another market. That's just the reality. Okay. Walmart is not in every country in the world. It's in a lot of countries, but it's not in every country. You know, Target is not in every country in the world. You know, what pharmacies we have here aren't the same pharmacies you guys have there. You know what I mean? What sports we watch here aren't the same sports you guys watch there. And it goes not just for the US and the UK, it goes for a lot of countries. A lot of countries do not have these similar buying and spending habits and consumer habits, I should say, as the UK, as Germany, as Italy. And even those markets don't have the same consumer habits. Okay? That's why in the UK, they got the EPL rights. And in Italy, they got the Serie A rights. Why? Because respective to the market, they want different content in sports, different leagues in football.
We call it Serie A.
It would be like, for U.S. listeners, right? It would be like if you guys in the South didn't get, what's the college football conference in the South? Is it SEC?
SEC, yeah.
SEC, all right. You guys don't get any rights to the SEC on CBS, Fox, any of the, like, traditional cable networks. You only get rights on those networks for the Pac-12. It wouldn't make sense.
It's not going to make sense, yeah.
It wouldn't make sense. It's the same thing. DAZN does not have EPL rights in the UK. Then why are we even bringing that up? I'm sorry. Like, it's just this assumption that DAZN Uh, Ryan Hogg in the chat. Yo, Matt, why are you not reading my shit? I'm getting butthurt. I'm sorry, man. There's a lot of comments here. This assumption that DAZN is automatically successful. I don't know why we think that. I just don't. Maybe just because it has a big billionaire back in it, and we're boxing heads, so we get a lot of boxing propaganda thrown at us. And DAZN's propaganda has been pretty decent. I'll say that. But no, they're not big in Africa or Europe yet. That's yet to be determined. And Canelo will probably be smarter independently at going after markets instead of looking for a one-size-fits-all infrastructure like DAZN. That's probably the better financial path for him. Right? Like if you were his financial advisor, Gary, wouldn't you advise him to go into these markets and negotiate one-on-one deals with networks instead of looking for DAZN to solve all of your issues?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways. Any other thoughts, Gary? Any other topics you want to talk about?
No, I gotta wrap this up too.
Any big boxing news stories we're forgetting? We should mention.
No, I don't think so. The only one was the Munguia one. We talked about Canelo. We talked about Munguia, Triple J. I think we touched on all the big ones.
Let me quickly go on the topics chat. Eddie Hearn wanting Triple G, Demetrius Andrade. Hey, man, I would love that to happen.
Yeah,
I don't, but I also have seen Eddie state numerous times that like DAZN needs to do it. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Dude, you're the promoter for both of them. Why are you telling DAZN to make the fight? Is the money not there?
It's like they're all, and I understand they all want to wait for Canelo to see what Canelo's going to do. But it's like the entire football team is waiting to see who the head cheerleader is going to go to the prom with. It's like, come on, guys, or what soccer player gets to be the kicker on the football team, right? Like, it's only one of you, and we kind of know which one it's going to be, and it's not you. So, like, start to live your life like as if I get it. Canelo's the biggest prize, and you don't want to hear no until he signed to fight someone else. I get it, but like, entertain things, right? And while you're waiting on Canelo, don't let your life revolve around trying to get a Canelo fight.
A couple comments from the chat in terms of topics we can just briefly talk on. WBA 160-pound championship being vacated by Canelo. Murata is definitely getting the call up for a vacant shot, right? Murata and, I don't know who.
Murata Brandt 3, let's do it.
Oh, my fucking God. They would make that. They would make that. Yeah, that's probably going to happen. Neil, the security guard, is asking, is there any interest in Kovalev's upcoming fight? Not really. Finding Melakuziev or whatever his name is, right?
Melakuziev's going to beat him down.
That's what I think. Liam Roscoe with a very hurtful comment. I don't think you mean this to be hurtful, Liam, but it was. Show hasn't been the same since Rob left. Peace out.
I agree.
Look, Rob hasn't left, guys. Rob's in the group chat. We talk to him every day.
Too much.
Rod's busy, guys. And like that's just the reality. Like, this doesn't pay the bills. Okay. Gary, I believe you're retired, right? Right. You're
largely, yeah.
Awesome. So smart. I clearly don't have a lot of bills to pay. That's why I do this. Okay. And I get it. I get why Rob's not on every show. Plus, even though we try to accommodate him on time, it's rough on time because he gets off of work very late. He wants to hang out with his kids. I don't blame him, man. And plus, lately, I want to say his studio has been under construction. They're like painting the room and shit like that. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate. I wish I can pay Rob more. I wish I can pay you, Gary. I wish I can pay people, but this doesn't make a lot of money. It makes money to self-pay itself and to pay a very little amount of my bills that I have.
So leave a super chat like Santiago did. Appreciate it. And take the money, steal your parents' credit card. Whatever you need to do.
And there's like I do plug Patreon. We don't put content on Patreon because like look at what's happened in at least our country. Like how many millions of people are unemployed. Like the idea of like putting content behind a paywall, I don't like that. I've never liked it, to be that honest.
You did get $600 though for your months of unemployment, so consider yourself lucky.
Yep. Just Fight saying no Cash App. No, we do have a Cash App. If Just Fight, are you? I think I know who you are.
I don't know what it is, but we do have a Cash App.
Just Fight. Yes, I do have a Cash App. It's under Trending Now Network now. Forget the second now. That was more separate from the title of the Cash App username. It's just Trending Now Network. It used to be something else, but it wasn't working, so I just created a new one. So yes, Cash App, Trending Now Network. If you want to support me, the show, whatever. But I don't like asking for money. I just want to come on here, have fun, talk about shit, and hang out with Gary and Rob and Foo whenever they're available. Foo has been like deathly ill for months, guys. I keep stating this, but I don't really state it too much because I worry about the guy. But he's been sick for a very long time. So prayers and good vibes and good thoughts over to Foo, of course. And like I said, Rob's busy, man. Rob has life, and hell, I think people don't realize that there's a massive time difference. And to watch the show on the time difference, like let's say you're in the UK right now watching the show, it's very different than jumping on and producing and doing the show. Right? Like the amount of work it takes to just listen to content and then help create content is just different. So maybe Rob's awake at this time, but dude, at 10 o'clock at night after long days of work, he doesn't want to get on for 2 hours and talk about boxing. I get it. Totally get it. I don't blame him. He has his own channel and does a lot of like quick content he can do on his phone while he's like driving and shit from work.
Don't do content while you're driving. You know,
we should have a disclaimer there. Yes.
Don't upload things while you're driving.
Even though Rob does it, yes, you should not do that. But that's what Rob does now, and that's how he gets his boxing fix, man. So everyone go support UK Rob Boxing. Okay. And if you think the show has changed since he's left, I agree. I miss Rob. I think we all miss Rob. There's nothing I can do though, and it's not like he's left, and it's not like there's animosity. It's just life. Life happens, man.
Hey Rob, if you come back, Matt will double your salary.
Hey, Rob's not the most like learned man out there, but he knows what 2 times 0 means, and it's still fucking 0. Oh man. Again, patreon.com/ Trending Now Network, Cash App, Trending Now Network, if you want to support any of our content. But of course, we do not keep this shit behind the paywall because we like this. We like doing this. We like providing entertainment for you guys in any fashion. And we hope it's entertaining. Like, we hope that what we do for an hour or 2 hours, once or twice a week, is entertainment for some of you guys.
We're the podcast of the people.
If you don't like it, like, hey, I truly will not be offended if you want to check out and watch other content. Like, you're not gonna hear a lot of podcasters, YouTube hosts say that, like, because they want to make this their business and this is their like sole identity. This is not my sole identity. I do not focus on making this a business. So that's why I have a different mindset. If you don't want to watch it, if it's not entertaining to you, I actually encourage you to not watch it. Why would you force yourself to watch something that's not entertaining? That just makes no sense. I don't watch stuff that's not entertaining to me. Unless it's hate watching. That's a different like category of entertainment completely. Just Fights, and you have a new Trending Now show. In terms of like new episode or like a new podcast. Obviously, Trending Now Network is another podcast that I do. Gary has jumped on a couple times and debated politics with me. Obviously, we differ on the political spectrum, of course. But yeah, I do that when I can because I don't want to sound stupid when I do that show. So I try to do a lot of reading before I do a show. So hopefully I'll do an episode this week since I don't have my kid this week. He's with his mom. So tomorrow maybe I'll jump on early, do like a morning stream on Trending Now Network on YouTube. Link is on our YouTube page. Find it all there. Find me obviously down below in the description and obviously at my right there. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day. Happy New Year to everyone out there, man. We made it. If you're one of the very lucky people that made it out of 2020, we fucking made it, and we can tell our kids and grandkids about it after we're old and shit, because this year was a motherfucker. PSK saying research the farmers in India situation really bad with no media coverage. Yes, I did a video about that a couple weeks ago. You should check it out. Anyways, Gary.
Find me all forms of social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. We are officially in 2021, and the Iron Boy, Ivan Calderon, is still not in the Boxing Hall of Fame. That needs to change. Ivan Calderon for the class of 2021. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.
See ya. And remember, guys, at all times, fuck the police and free Palestine. Peace.